So the first uh, National Congress started in 1885, and its sessions started in the same year, in the month of December, particularly on 28th December in the Gokul Das Hall at Bombay, with 72 representatives all over the Indian territories and from British Indian territories, and 10 more unofficial delegates also attended. Okay, so 54 among the 72 delegates, the 54 from the Hindu, and two from the Muslim, and remaining from the Parsi and Jain. Okay, so practically all these Hindu delegates were basically the upper communities. All of them well known or speak with the English. More than half of were lawyers, and remainder consisted of journalists, businessmen, landowners, professors. Okay, so no common man or no representative from the peasant section attended. Okay, it's only the group of a upper communities, particularly a profession, various professions they attend. Okay, so here such was the fight gathering of a new India, an emerging elite middle class intellectuals devoted to peaceful political action, political action and protest on behalf of their nation in the making. On its last day, the Congress passed various resolutions and embodying the political and economical demands of its members that served thereafter as a public petitions to government for the redress of grievances. Among those initial resolutions were calls for the addition of elected non-official representatives to Supreme and the Provincial Legislative Council, and for real equality of opportunity for the Indians to enter Indian civil service for the immediate introduction of simultaneous examination in India and Britain. Okay, so basically, in the members initially who attended the Congress sessions were called as somewhat a liberals. Okay, so when you see a particular division of the Indian National Congress, Indian National Congress way, it is divided into three phases. We already discussed. Okay, the first one is the first phase we called as the moderate era, which is from 1885 to 1905, and the extremist era from 1905 to 1920, and then 1920 to 1947 we called as the Gandhian era. Okay, this is a partition which is a roughly divided on the basis of the works and programs of the various members who collectively worked in the Indian National Congress. Okay, so basically the main aims of the moderates were somewhat supporters of the British India, because they always supported the British Indian democracy, that the British government may support Indians in any way. They may give independence as much as possible. Okay, so on the basis of their ideology, their programs were somewhat liberal. Okay, that's why you call it as the phase as a moderate. Okay, so basically their demands were the basically a demands on basis of the economy. Okay, so economic demands by the Indian National Congress in initial stages started with a call for reduction of home charges, that part of Indian revenue that went towards the entire Indian office budget, and the pensions of officials living in Britain in retirement. Okay, so Dadabhai Naoroji, one of the important personality among the moderates of Indian National Congress. He was also called as the Grand Old Man because he had such association with the Indian National Congress for a long time. Okay, So up to 1913 or 14, because he was died in 1913 or like. Okay, so Dadabhai Nauroji, who served 3 times as its president, was leading exponent of the popular economic drain theory. You already aware that. Okay, so he was a first person who calculated Indian national income, Indian national income along with the various exploitation by the Britishers. And uh, uh, the Drain theory, which offered theoretical support to nationalist politics in instituting the India's poverty, was the product of British exploitation and annual plunder of gold, silver, and raw materials. Okay, so other resolution called for the reduction of military expenditure, condemned the Third Anglo-Burmese War, demanded retrenchment of administrative expenses, and urged reimposition of import duties on the British manufacture. Okay, so these are certain demands of these moderates. Okay, so one great personality you have to remember when we speak with the Indian National Congress means he is none other than Deva Hume. Okay, Deva Hume, who is credited with organizing the Congress, Indian National Congress. He was secretary. He was the uh, founder of Indian National Congress, and he worked as secretary of Indian National Congress up to 1907, I think. Okay, so he attended the first session of Congress as only the British delegate, and Sir William Wedderburn, also another important delegate who continuously attended the first three Indian National Congress sessions also. Okay, so Evo Hume was the founder. Wedderburn, Sir William Wedderburn. Okay, so the both Wedderburn and William Wordsworth, both are two important personalities who appointed as a observer of these initial Congress sessions. Okay, so Wedderburn is a representative from the British Britain, and William Wordsworth, a principal of Elphinstone College. He was also a important observer of the Indian National Congress. So these are certain things about the Indian National Congress, and I will give one more argument about Indian National Congress, that many British officials, they are thought that Indian National Congress may be a microscopic minority. Okay, so they never think it is a serious organization, which later, which became a safety valve to the Indian national movement. Okay, so they think that it may be a microscopic minority, it will not affect any British administration in India. Okay, so and also some Indians also criticized Indian National Congress as a, a, a puppet organization, which started by Evo Hume on the advice of Lord Dufferin, yet, then the Governor General of India. Okay, so Lord Dufferin, who was directly publicly criticized, it's a microscopic minority, and it never affect the Indian government. Okay, so but the popularity of Indian National Congress, which continuously gradually increased from 1885, and within the 3 years, the within the 3 years, the delegates of the Indian National Congress who attending the Indian National Congress were increased up to 1248 in 1888. Okay, so it's continuously which popularized among the Indians. Okay, so within the moderate era, and within the moderate era, many moderates are, we are aware, Gopal Krishna Gokhale and Dadabhai Nauroji, and W.C. Banerjee, the first president of Indian National Congress first session, and many other like other liberals who worked with the Indian National Congress, but they never attained their goal. Okay, so because their activities are on the basis of very prayer, petition, and resolution. So they never condemned the British programs or the or the various orders. Okay, they are just condemning themselves, condemning the Britishers without any a critic. Okay, so like they're strong, they were not strongly condemned because they have certain belief in the British democracy. Okay, so this is the point how the extremists who criticized the moderates and started their journey with the Indian National Congress. Okay, so in the same years in 1905, there is a important incident taken place, which is nothing but the partition of Bengal. Okay, so the partition of Bengal, which created a spark among the Indian national movement, and many sections of the Indian society were started their fight, started fighting against the British government. Okay, this is the point because there is a movement also which attached to Indian partition of Bengal, the Swadeshi and Boycott movement. Okay, so the Swadeshi and boycott movement, which is in initial stages, which only confined to the Bengal territories, but later which spread to the all other territories of British India. Okay, so just I will give you one or two points regarding the partition of Bengal. Okay, so the first partition of Bengal in 1905 brought that province to the brink of open rebellion. The British recognized that Bengal, with some 85 million people, was much too large for a single province, and determined that it merited reorganization, that intelligent division. The line drawn by Lord Curzon's government, however, cut through the heart of the Bengal-speaking nation, leaving Western Bengal's Badarlok nothing but the respectable people. Okay, so the intellectual Hindu leadership of Calcutta, tied to the much less political, active Bihari and Oriya-speaking Hindus to their north and south. A new Muslim majority province of East Bengal and Assam were created with its capital at Dhaka. Okay, so the leadership of Congress Party viewed that partition as an attempt to divide and rule, and proof of the government vindictive antipathy towards the spoken Badarluk intellectuals, especially since the Curzon and